Hey there, this is a live stream. So, welcome to my channel, Chasing Yancy, where we discuss all things love, dating, sex, and relationships. This live stream is being recorded on Instagram, so I will invite my Instagram followers, my Instagram live stream viewers to drop their city and state so I can see where they are watching. But if you are watching the replay on YouTube, you can just skip ahead and get right into it. I will do my best to put a timestamp in the description below, because if you're like me, I don't like sitting through it. All right, guys, I want to give a quick disclaimer for those of you who are coming in. Like I said, please drop your city and state so I can see where you're watching from. I forgot to pin my comment, my title, 6 Dating Tips for Women. So let me just pin this here. And then I'll get into my hellos, where you guys are. So my previous post, if you guys saw the carousel post that I did today, I believe it was today, it was talking about vetting a man and the things that women should keep in mind. It's the thing that players really hope that women don't know, because that's what allows them to play on the emotions of women. And there were at least 2 guys who commented and said, this seems really one-sided, but what about the guy? Or what about the woman? What is she doing? What is she doing during this process? And to be fair, women do that sometimes when I talk about what a woman should do. For example, like, this is how to be wifey material, and then you'll get people who jump in, from as women and say, well, what is a guy doing to qualify for this? So I want to make this statement very clear so that it's understood for both genders. When I give advice, the assumption is that the person who is taking the advice is also doing what they're supposed to be doing, okay? So I would never tell a group of women, no matter what you're doing, no matter how you present yourself, no matter how you behave, what you've done in your past, this is what you should do to vet men. I'm going to give a balance, okay? But in my content, if it's a reel, I'm limited. I think they upped it to 2 minutes now for my page. And on the carousel post, you can only do 10 slides. So unless you're watching on YouTube, a longer form, you're not going to get everything in one single piece of content. And a lot of times I'm going to narrow down the topic to one particular thing. So if I'm teaching women how to vet men, I'm not going to, in that same piece of content, teach women how to be wifey material. If I'm teaching women how to be wifey material, I'm not going to, in that same post or same piece of content, give red flags for men. Okay, so you have to narrow it down. So I hope you guys don't just consume one individual piece of content, but take in as much as you can. And like I said, if you want context and more understanding, you can go to YouTube. Okay, thank you so much, Amber. All right, so I am going to jump into it. It doesn't look like anyone. Oh, no, we have Charleston, South Carolina. So we had one person drop their city. So I will shout you out. Thank you, Carl, for tuning in. And we're going to get into it, guys. I don't know if I'm going to have time to answer questions, but if you do have a burning question and and I do a chance to answer it, you can use the little question box. I keep calling it a box if it's not in a box. It is looks like a talking bubble with a question mark in it. So if you want to drop your question, do that. And if I have time, I will answer the first couple of ones, or at least the ones that stand out. Okay. All right. So, okay. Y'all stuck in your city. So let me do the quick shout outs before I move on. Shout out to Skin Like Hershey. That's cute. In Raleigh, North Carolina. We have Green Bay, Wisconsin. I don't know how to say your name, but shout out to you. ATQUELL. We have Woodbridge, Virginia in the house. The Recipe 38. And we have Ronan in Virginia Beach. Oh, we got Linka in Sydney, Australia. So welcome. By the way, I see Charles tagged in today. Thank you so much. Someone told me today that you sent them my way, so I appreciate that. I love it. Okay. And of course, Tay in Virginia. All right, guys. So I'm going to get into it. So we're not doing shout outs all day, but you guys know when you first come in, I will shout out as many as I can before we get going. All right, so we have 6 tips today, and we are going to jump into them. And if you can, because this is really helpful to people who are watching this after the fact, would anyone like to volunteer to be my scribe? Okay, just put your little hand up, raise your hand up emoji if you're willing to do that. Essentially, you're just taking notes. There are just 6 tips. So every time I give a tip and I give the number, if you could put the number and the tip, you can just paraphrase it into, a little short 3-4 words. That allows people who come in later to go back and watch it, okay? And get caught up. So if you would like to do that, please do that, and I appreciate it in advance. Okay, so the very first thing that I want women to remember. And I wrote these out of order, so help me if I get my numbers mixed up. I'm actually going to start with number 6 and make it number 1. Number 1, you have to not take dating personally, okay? So what I notice with women a lot of times is that there's this subconscious belief that there's a one size fit all, right? Like if you're a good person and you're an attractive person, and let's just say you take care of your body, whatever, right? Whatever you think makes you a great catch, there's someone out there who doesn't want you, okay? So it doesn't negate the qualities that make you a great person. You could be great for Bob and not great for Trevor, okay? The other thing is this: sometimes rejection is not an indication of you being off your game or something wrong with you. Sometimes it could be the reverse, okay? I actually had this told to me when I was in college. If you give off wifey vibes, which is not a negative thing, they can tell you're a good girl. They can tell that you would make a great wife. You are an absolute catch. Men who are just trying to have fun but have a conscience, they are going to let you go. And in their mind kind of think, dang, I want to keep, I don't want to burn a bridge here because maybe I can circle back later. But there are actually guys who don't have bad motives in mind. Sometimes they're just like, I'm not in a place. Let me even give another example that doesn't make it like player or not player. Sometimes they're not a player, but they know that they're not in a mindset where they can really take care of a wife and kids. So with guys, they're very practical. Okay, we as women, we can be really emotional and we fantasize about what it can be. Men tend to be extremely practical. So they know if I fall in love, then eventually she's going to want to get married. Getting married means financial strains of some sort. I don't want to say strains sounds negative, but it's a financial commitment. We got the engagement. Most women want to have a marriage ceremony. So you're talking about the reception and the wedding. And then you have to provide the house. You have to take care of kids when they come. So it's a big deal to men, and the good quality men who are valuable, sometimes they are in grind season, okay? So it is a lot to build a life for yourself. Look how many people are struggling and having to go back home to mom and dad. It's a lot for a guy to build for himself. On top of that, to have a wife and kids, that is a big deal, right? God forbid you have a kid who has medical issues or something like that. It can add up very quickly. Tay, I swear you're always the first to buy a badge. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you, thank you. So just understand, for those of you just tuning in, when you are rejected by a man, do not allow your brain to go 100% to there's something wrong with me. Now, there are 2 categories of women, okay? And in my, he's a Snapple fact. I love that. Thank you, Devin. In my view, there are 2 kind of main groups of women that are problematic. The center would be really, really in a good place. Thank you, Okra. You do too. I think you're the male version of the most generous with badges, and Tay is the female version. You guys tend to get a lot. Thank you so much. So the center is like where we want to be, and then there's an unhealthy group on this side, and then there's an unhealthy group on this side, and they're polar extremes. So this group of women is the group of women who think that their stuff doesn't stink. They are, they'll use men. They are emasculating. They are super masculine themselves. Okay, that's those group of women. My target is not that, because that wasn't really something that I struggle with, and I make content for the me of yesterday. The other end of the spectrum is the women who don't think enough of themselves and are underconfident and are overly catering to men and don't know their worth. Both of them are problematic. They're just problematic for different reasons. So this type of woman is going to get rejected and immediately say something's wrong with me. The woman on this side is probably like, oh, I'm amazing, and she has all these issues she needs to work through, okay? So keep working on yourself, get feedback and all that, but don't automatically think because this guy didn't like me, this is an issue. One of the homework assignments I would give you, if you don't believe me, is to watch, whether you think these are scripted or not, watch a reality show where there are nothing but gorgeous women. She said sometimes I can be both. watch the shows where there are gorgeous women, right? When they cast reality shows, these women are usually in great shape, have pretty nice fashion, hair is nice, whether it's came out of their head or they purchased it from someone's shop. They tend to do their makeup well, like they present well, right? These are attractive women. They don't get some fuddy-duddies like they grabbed out of Walmart. And inevitably, when the men see the women, they look out. They all recognize the women are beautiful, but one sticks out to the guy. One guy sticks out. And it's the same thing with us women. And this is what we have to constantly remind ourselves. You can see a bunch of guys and go, oh, those are handsome guys. But what do we say? Yeah, I'd refer him to a friend. He's not my type, but he's handsome. So that guy shouldn't walk away feeling like, oh my God, I must be ugly. No, that's not his type. So let's leave Walmart out of it. So the thing is, number one is to stop taking dating personally. Okay. All right. So, and if anyone wants to be my scribe, that's number one. Don't take dating personally. All right. So number two, be fun to be around. I'll never forget, I did a collab video on YouTube with my buddy Troy. He's on as exclusive here on Instagram. And he was talking about, one of the three main things that men look for when they are dating a woman, right? So the obvious ones, he wants to be attracted to her, what have you. But a big piece is he wants to be able to have fun with her. So a lot of times as women, especially if our biological clock is ticking, or we just have an expectation that, oh, I just wanted to be married by this time, or I expected to be at this place in my life. A lot of times we can forget the exciting part of dating. For women, right? We don't want men to skip the romantic side of dating. Men don't want to skip the fun part of dating. And a lot of times, this isn't a love language per se, but one of the things that is really important for a guy is, can I have fun with my partner? Can we do activities together? Even when it comes to conversations, so many men say, she's gorgeous, but the girl cannot hold a conversation. Oh my God. I ask her questions and it's one word answers. It's dead air. It's just boring. So when you are dating, remember to have fun and try to think of it, instead of looking at it like, oh my gosh, is he the one or not? And constantly having that, because that's intense. That is something that really puts us in a undesirable state of mind, and it's stressful for us too, so nobody's benefiting. Be fun. And here's the beauty: when you are not married to the outcome, but you fully embrace the experience, you can actually go on a date with someone you would never want to see again, but allow yourself to have fun. As long as they are not being rude, as long as they are not being disrespectful, they're just not your vibe, you can still have fun with them. Which is why for me, I prefer first dates to be an activity. And honestly, I like to do video chats first if I haven't met that person in person, to kind of see what the energy is like. Because a lot of times you can tell if somebody's just not your vibe or whatever. But like I said, if you do find yourself stuck on a date, you're not feeling the person, you should still be able to laugh and fun. Just think about hanging out with a coworker. You don't have to like your coworker, be sexually attracted to your coworker to be able to have fun, if they're the opposite sex. So try to not make it so serious. And as women, we tend to, we can be very serious when it comes to dating and relationships, especially if we're really interested in getting in a relationship. Okay. So it's so crazy. It's almost like the more you let go, the more you are less uptight, the more desirable you are, and then you attract that thing to you that you're looking for the most. But if you're obsessed with it, you're seeking it out, you're highly focused on it, the irony is that you're going to turn people off. Nobody wants to feel, this is the other thing, no man wants to feel like he is just being a check on a list. I want to get married, I want to have kids, oh, I need a husband, okay, you'll do. No one wants to feel like they're just inserted into the program. They want to feel like they were selected because they are awesome. They are your best friend. You cannot get enough of them. And so be aware. This is how we can come across to men. Okay? All right. Number 3. Remember that a man doesn't owe you anything. I cannot stress this enough. If you go on a date, if you go on 2 dates and 3 dates, let's say hypothetically, he took you on 3 dates and he decided he doesn't want to be with you, he does not owe you anything. We're going to say it again for the people in the back. He does not owe you anything, okay? So there should not be any bitterness if he chooses to walk away, because wouldn't you want someone that's into you, right? You got to put your ego aside. You want someone who's into you. So if someone is already saying early on, I'm just not feeling it, thank you, let them go, right? Because that's pulling teeth later, trying to get romance and trying to get time together. Now, he has to be head over heels, as the old people say, nose wide open. I got a couple questions about this live stream. I save my live streams not on Instagram, but I post it on YouTube. They said save for the people outside. I love my people. Y'all are funny. So you should be able to find it on YouTube after the fact. The only exception is when Instagram is tripping and it doesn't let me download. So sometimes it just keeps giving me an error message and I have to sit there for like 30 minutes trying to download it. But it's easier to watch on YouTube because you can fast forward and all that stuff and timestamp things and jump around. But anyway, thank you. Glad you're enjoying it. So understand he does not owe you anything. It is amazing when I see women who are like, oh my God, he wasted my time. The thing is that imagine if you're dating a masculine man, right? He said, I'm here spying. If you're dating a masculine man, if you're dating a guy who is, all about paying for things, he's traditional, whatever, right? Look at it this way. At least you did not come out of pocket a couple $100s. Like, I'm sorry. I am so grateful to men that they are willing to shoulder that, right? They're willing to make that investment, not knowing if they're going to get a return. Which is, again, not a plug for myself, but a reason why I like to do activities that are free. I am cool going for a workout on a first date, cool going for a workout, cool going for a walk, cool just like window shopping. You find a cool little area that you haven't gone to before, park somewhere and just walk, like go into different shops or whatever. You don't have to spend money, right? Or not a crazy amount until you like the person. That's just my personal preference. But with women, my point was, you might be upset because your hopes got up and you felt like it was going somewhere, but at least you are not also stuck with the bill. Because, whoo, he said we're all about the ROI for 2023. Okay, so absolutely. So what was I going to say? So just, again, this rolls up to number 1, try to have fun. You gotta relax, be fun, and have fun. And truly understand, look, if you get, and I have experienced marriage, right? I did 12 years of marriage. Dating can be a lot of fun. Dating, yes, there are lows and there are highs, but it should be a lot of fun, because if you don't like the person, you could stop talking to them. If you're in a committed relationship, that's it. Like, that is your new person. There's no fresh blood coming in. You have to try to find ways to spice it up, switch it up, whatever. So as much as you can, enjoy the process. Enjoy the process, okay? So he doesn't owe you anything is number 3. Yeah, I went backwards. Okay, so everything is 1 up. So number 4, understand that you cannot negotiate with somebody who is not invested, okay? If they're not interested already. So imagine, for example, I'm trying to think of what is an equivalent. If you're trying to hire someone, for example, or you're trying to be hired, right? You can't come in before they said, we want to hire you, and say, oh, I want this pay, I want these many days off, I want a window seat, and I want to be able to work from home 4 out of the 5 days of the week. You can't come in and negotiate until they said they're interested. So the company would need to say, oh my goodness, Yancy, we have been looking for someone like you. You seem like a perfect fit. We are super interested. Once you have that leverage, then you can negotiate, okay? But they might have a bunch of different people that they're still interviewing, and I would look crazy coming in talking about, I want this, I want that. It actually might cut me out of the running because someone else seems like they're easier to get along with, But the point is this, ladies, understand that before he asks for a commitment, it is the discovery phase, not just for him, but for you. So during this time, observe, 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 observe. There's no need to start making demands and asking for things until he has asked you to be his lady. At that point, it makes sense. Some people come in first date, second date, what I need, this kind of energy. Like, ma'am, you barely got invited to the table. Like, we're not making negotiations yet. Hey, love, nice to see you. All right, so understand, you cannot negotiate until he has first made an offer. Does that make sense? You guys hit the heart if that's making sense. He said, you mean how some people ask for things they can't reciprocate? And okay, I'm going to do something. Actually, I've never used the question box for this, but it would make sense. Guys, give me in the little question, I say question box, it's not a box, but in the question icon with the little question mark in it, give your most frequent issues with women. Like, for example, I was saying that a lot of times men will tell me that the women they date are boring. Like, it's snooze fest. So if you see something that is consistently happening over and over again that's negative, go ahead and drop it in the question. I'm going to say box, y'all. Question box, so that I can see if there are any that are interesting that I maybe haven't heard, and then I'll share with you guys. Okay? So feel free to spill some tea, guys. That's for the fellas, okay? We try to get the ladies together. All right, so what am I on? This would be 6. Okay. Don't be bitter if you see red flags, okay? The purpose of the red flag is to give you the indication that you need to leave, right? A lot of times, women are not able to control their emotions. And thank you so much, because I'm lost. I'm going out of order on my notes, so they're numbered wrong. Remember, the beginning phase, the beginning portion of dating is the observation phase, right? I call it the discovery phase, and it roughly, let's just say 3 months. At least for 90 days, you should be paying attention. So what happens is, and it's paying attention not because we're going, oh gosh, I hope this is the one. We're just saying, we're vetting. We're vetting. Is this qualified? And so, is this person qualified? So if he shows you a red flag, you simply go, oh, I mean, obviously I know your emotions are involved, so it's not this simple, but you're going, okay, I can put him in the unqualified category, and you move on. What happens is that a lot of times women will see the red flag that is a red flag for a reason, and now they want to bring it up to him, discuss it with him, and hopefully he'll make a change. The thing is that a red flag is non-negotiable. A red flag is a do not pass, do not fly zone, right? So if somebody has a red flag, let's just say, for example, a red flag, and this is one of the things I do with my clients. He says red flags are open to interpretation. That's the thing. It's not open to interpretation for each person. Thank you. Do not pass go. I was trying to think. I was like, how did I say that? Thank you, Winter. Your red flags do not need to be discussed with anybody. This is my opinion, okay? A red flag is something only for yourself. So when I work with clients, for example, we make sure we have a category for preferences, and then we have a category for red flags. There could be yellow flags, like, like you might say, oh, he has kids, but that could be a preference, or that could be a red flag, right? Like, I don't want to deal with a baby mama. It's for you to decide what you can and cannot deal with. So one that typically comes up on every woman's list is infidelity. What is the purpose of having cheating as a red flag if he's going to cheat and then you're going to stick around? You don't have a discussion and say how much it hurt you and how much you felt like it was a betrayal of your trust. Good day, sir. God bless. So that is a red flag. So red flags, you should not be bitter. You should say, thank God this came out during the discovery phase. And constantly, if you're in a headspace of, I'm almost not going to breathe, I'm almost going to be holding my breath for at least 90 days, you're simply understanding that this is a vetting process. She said 2 baby mamas is a whole no for me. That's a lot of juggling. That's a lot of logistics. That's a lot of emotions going on. That's a lot of, well, I was gonna say, so let me not say that. So anywho, getting back to what I was saying, red flags should not be dealt with. The other thing is this, and I'm going to try to see if I can say this succinctly, because I get this question a lot. When a person is just getting to know someone and there are things that they already don't like, they're not necessarily red flags, violations of them or anything like that, but it's just like, you know, he hardly ever calls, or, you know, he rarely wants to see me, or he's always asking me out last minute. Stop giving these men the what is it called? Like, stop putting them in the driver's seat. You are supposed to be, you know, I'm gonna do it with my body, but this is like an emotional state. You're supposed to be like this, observing. You're taking notes. You're like, okay, you're observing. You're not trying to mold him into what you want, because you want to see him in his natural state. Okay, you ever seen a tree that's growing up out of the ground, or a plant or whatever, and they've had to tie it to the stake? If you take it off the stake, it goes right back to the way it's naturally growing out of the ground, right? I feel like when you give someone too much information at the beginning, you're trying to tie it to a stake. This is how I want you to be. You want to see what direction. Is it curved to the side? You know, you want to see which direction this guy is, his natural bent is, because then you can decide if you can deal with it. And the thing is that you should honestly try as much to think of this person as this is how it's going to be. And it is absolutely idyllic for you to think that he is going to change. Like, that is in a perfect world, that he is going to change and be able to do all these things. What I recommend to women is try as possible to date someone and commit to someone who at their natural state, you know, their natural bent, you can deal with it, right? Like, because if you're coming out the gate trying to completely tweak a person, she said she got that, tweak a person, it's going to be not fun for you. It's not going to be fun for him. So that's why I say sometimes it's just an indication it's not a good fit. And it could also be an indication that he's not super into you. You should not be having to pull teeth to get the basics. And when I say basics, I mean communication, seeing you. If he can go weeks without seeing you, if he only texts you and never needs to hear your voice, certain things are basic. They should be like the basic package, an indication that he's interested in you. Otherwise, you might just be on a roster and he's getting to you when he can get to you. Okay? She said, yes, Hunty, it also gives him ammunition to play you too. Stop talking so much, ladies. Let him find your heart. Hello? We have so much power. We have so much power when we close our mouth. Okay? So much power. And the beautiful thing is that when a guy is super interested, he is going to want to learn you. He is going to pay attention and see what things are lighting you up, what things you're kind of like, You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. And I would say this with men, when they're looking at their female friends or sisters or female cousins or whatever, or even their moms dating, what I always see guys say is like, we could see it a mile away, but you guys can't. Like, it's so frustrating. He's telling you without telling you. Yeah, and legs. He's telling you without telling you he's not interested in you, but we are refusing to see the red flags. That's why I say we are our own worst enemy. The only way that a guy would be the one at fault in the end, to me, is if he like physically broke into your house, violated you physically. Outside of that, we are the gatekeepers. We are the one who lets him into our life, lets him into our space, keeps him unblocked, responding to. We are the ones who are allowing this person into our life. So if he shows up, he's not doing what he's supposed to do, the door should be closed to him. Next. And again, without bitterness, because all you're doing is vetting. Okay? Sorry, guys, I'm getting all hyped up. So for me, I have had the pleasure of meeting, some great guys during my, 8 years now of dating. And they are so predictable. When a guy is super interested, they are quick to profess it, right? I am really feeling you. Typically, I don't want to talk to any other women. And I've even had guys say this, you don't have to stop talking to guys, but I'm just letting you know, they want to let you know what they're feeling. They want to let you know how invested they are. They will quickly drop the marriage. I could see myself marrying you. Men get really giddy and feel really romantic when they're really liking you. So it makes it really clear when the other guy is never bringing up anything long term. He's never talking about any future facts. You never catch him like, in conversations. It's really clear. So I want women to like wake up and understand, like, men are easy to read when you truly allow yourself to read what is there, right? And not wish and hope and pray it away. All right, so this would be, okay, I guess that would be number 6. All right, so just quick recap for those of you who came in late. And again, if Instagram lets me download it, which sometimes it gives me issues, I will put this on YouTube. But number 1, stop taking dating personally. Just because he rejects you does not mean that you are broken, not attractive, just undesirable. It's that particular person. Number 2, be fun to be around. Have fun. Allow yourself, and I'm going to add this little bonus for this. Be careful who you listen to when it comes to attractiveness, okay? There is marketing that happens, right? Marketing that's happening in on TV, magazines, whatever, that's coming from businesses. Their job is to create a need, okay? They want you to feel like, oh no, if I don't get this, I'll miss out on this. Or if you want to have this, you need to buy this. Understand that those people are motivated to make money. So be careful when you listen to people who are going to profit off of you by selling something or teaching you something. The best people to listen to if you want to understand general principles on what makes you attractive is ask men. Okay? Ask men or listen to men. Go in circles where there are men. That is all I did when I got back into the dating world and I wanted to understand how men thought. I actually asked them. And so I know a lot of women get offended and they feel like they're being attacked if what the men are describing is something that they do or don't do. But there's certain things, and I'll rattle this off and you'll know immediately. Most men, I should say in 42 years, I have never met a man go, my God, that chick is fine. The way she knows how to beat her face. Oh, I mean, the contouring, the cheekbone highlights. I mean, most men say, I absolutely want to think that she is beautiful without a stitch of makeup so that it can only go up from there. Oh man, I could wait. I could wake up to that face because they're thinking what's practical. Literally, I will wake up, turn over, see my wife, and that's what she's going to look like. Now, if she takes it up a notch, that's fine. There aren't men who are just like, I hate makeup. If you do it with, what is the word? You sparingly, right? You do it sparingly. But that is one of the things that I get complimented on a ton. Not to toot my own horn, I'm just trying to make the point. A lot of guys say, I absolutely love the fact that you don't wear a ton of makeup. And then it's like a treat if I'm going out and doing something special. I might even put on a lash, okay? But it's not going to be the snuffleupagus, type of thing. Moderation, thank you. I was like, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. But it makes it a little bit more special. With women, you'll see all these channels of women teaching you how to beat your face. And there's this whole idea that, being confident is about doing things for yourself and don't ever do something for a man. But to me, that's taking it to the extreme. Should you do everything for someone else? No. But if you're trying to fish, you should take the time to learn what bait works, okay? So just like men, they don't want to necessarily be in the gym and like drinking all these protein shakes and all this stuff. But what do they learn? They learn what women like. And what do we respond to? Big old muscles. We like a big old beefy neck and big broad shoulders, right? If there was a way they could get taller, guys would be signing up for that. They found out we like beards. Some people try to grow it on and put the shoe polish, okay? So we got to stop making it seem like there is an insecurity or something that is like not self-loving if we want to do something for a man. Okay, there are a lot of things that I am comfortable doing. Low key, I can be hella casual, not even really like do my hair cute, but I know if I'm in a relationship, I need to do certain things for my person. All right, so there's a level of selflessness that we have to be willing to have for a partner, and there's nothing wrong with that. He said women like pectorals. Yeah, yes indeed. So I was saying all that to say, watch who you are listening to. And even with the things that tend to be the majority, ask the guys too. Ask the guy that you're with, because maybe he is into XYZ. Maybe the last guy didn't like long nails, but he does, or whatever the case may be. But in general, men tend to like less. Less is more for them. And again, it's more of a, I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm getting. And can I handle? I think the best comparison would be like guys who look good in hats, right? Even if he could be wearing hats all the time and you might be okay with him wearing the hat, but you at least want to know what he looks like without the hat. How many times have we asked the guy, do you have a picture without a hat? Or can I see you without a hat? You just want to at least know that when he isn't wearing a hat, he gonna be okay. Okay? And if you're trying to make a baby with him, like what kind of head is my kid gonna possibly get? All right? So that's basically, I felt like there was something else I was gonna say in the vein of listening to other women. Oh, as far as like what men are into, what men enjoy, what men think about, like when you genuinely want to know, you will spend the time and energy to do that. And I believe that is what has made me so successful even as a content creator, because I ended up with a wealth of information for myself, but then people were saying, share what you've learned. So I feel that compared to the average woman, I understand a lot more about men just because I care. And that is something that men find really sexy. If you take the time to not only learn just men in general, but learn him, what does he like, it makes men really feel seen. And a lot of times guys feel like we come across as women as we are the only ones that matter. We're the only ones who are important. We're the only ones that need to be catered to. And I think the bar is so low a lot of times, even when it comes to getting gifts and things on holidays, right? We tend to just think about what we're going to get. It's become a joke about Father's Day saying, oh, we'll just get a tie and some socks, maybe some underwear. But as women, we want really, really nice gifts. So we got to work to balance this out and make guys feel like they're appreciated. That was a little bit of a tangent, but that was number 2. Number 3, he doesn't owe you anything. You can go back and watch that, okay? When you're dating, nobody owes anything. Nobody wasted anybody's time. Number 4, you can't negotiate with someone who hasn't yet expressed an interest. Make sure you go back and watch that one. Number 5, I skipped number 5. That's what someone said earlier, that I was on number 5 and I said it was number 6, and you're absolutely right. So whoever you were, pat yourself on the back. Number 5 is you control what you give before marriage. Okay. And I'm so glad I did a recap because this one is really, really important. Okay. Number 5, when you are, just like I said, you should start out with, having your deal breaker list and your preferences list and things like that, because you can get kind of caught up and be like, oh, and then kind of get derailed from what is on your list, right? You can get distracted. I'm sorry, this is funny. You said, if I ever get a tie for Father's Day, I'm buying Shorty an apron for Mother's Day. I heard that. What was I saying? Oh, so you should have your list. Now, there are things that you should decide what is going to make me bitter, right? So if I give this, and at the end of dating, which remember, he doesn't owe me anything, if at the end of it doesn't work out, what am I going to be bitter about? So for me, something that is unnegotiable for me that I would be bitter about is if I gave myself physically. If I gave him my body, I would be mad that my number went up. I would feel like I violated my spiritual beliefs, because the Bible says, you are to lay down with your spouse only. There are multiple things. If I got pregnant, I'd be hella bitter. So that's a really big, obvious one I can give you as an example. But there are certain things that you should not do if you're not guaranteed that this is going to work out. And guys, it goes for you too. I don't think you should be out here buying cars. I mean, unless you just got it like that to where it's not a big deal. But if you're going to be bitter about something, that's an indication that maybe that's giving a little bit too much. Maybe you don't introduce them to your kids or her to your kids. You have to have your list of things that you are not comfortable doing with somebody outside of marriage. That will also help to keep you from being bitter when things don't work out. What I see happening is a lot of times a woman will meet a guy, she'll see he's attracted to her, she's attracted to him, and then they start jumping into wifey mode. They start living together, having babies together, buying pets together, and it's like a whole divorce when it's time to break up. It's really hard to walk away when you feel like you're too deep in. Okay, so these are the types of things to help prevent. I'm all about preventing things. It's hard to unring certain bells. So I'd rather you know going in. I had a woman DM me today and she's like, I love your content. I just wish I had heard it when I was younger. So those of you ladies who are, maybe 18, 19, 20, your early 20s, even late 20s, and you haven't started a family yet or you haven't been married yet, this is information that you should really take to heart and understand that the majority of women who are my age, in the 40s, I'm early 40s, but late 30s, 40s, 50s, a lot of women have regret, okay? So I make content for the younger version of me, and I hope that you ladies, the young ladies, really, really run with it. He said, I'm taking the dogs so you can keep the house. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate the love. Okay, so number six then is don't be bitter if you see red flags and you choose to stay. The red flag is there to show you to leave. All right. So let me see what kind of questions. Last time I opened it up, some of y'all were trying to be all about business. So just because you ask, don't think I might answer everything. Okay. Let's have lowered expectations. Okay. Let's see. If you guys liked it, drop me some hearts, you guys. Because I can't see your faces. I can't see if you clap, and I can't hear you say, yes, girl, yes. So if you're feeling it, drop the hearts. Hopefully, like I said, Instagram will let me download this, and I can put it on YouTube. Okay, she said, I was married a long time ago, new to dating again. Nice. You're welcome, Linka. All right, so let's see. Do women often get rejected? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say that rejection is, I love that. She said, I'm 53 and I still appreciate your content. Thank you. Women get rejected a lot. So men tend to get rejected initially, right? The immediate rejection. Hey, shorty, what's your number? That was a horrible accent. Don't judge me. And the woman's like, oh, no, thank you. Right. That's an instant rejection. But a lot of women get rejected further along. So he could have gone on one date and then maybe he met another woman he vibed with more, or he just felt she was boring as sin, or whatever the case may be. And he bows out. And a lot of times people won't even give you an explanation or give you a heads up. They just fade to black. Right. So, yes, absolutely. Women get rejected all the time. Okay, let's see. Feminine women just aren't like going up to men and initiating though. So who ghosts more, men or women? I would not know because I only date men. So I would be biased if I tried to answer that. Women feeling like I have to prove to them that I'm worth. Women feeling, okay, I'm not sure if there was a question. So if you can resubmit that, but it's talking about women feeling that they have to prove to them they're worth them entertaining. Resubmit that if you wouldn't mind, sir. Oh, that was in response. Thank you. Okay, I'm so glad it took the second one for me to realize these were for the things that men experience. Okay, so thank you. I'm so glad I caught it that quick. I caught it at least. So when he's saying women who act like they have to basically earn. Here's the thing, and this is for men and women. There is such a thing as tact. There is such a thing as just basic human psychology. Men and women, I have male and female clients, and I don't think that it should be one-sided, right? My advice is not just meant to benefit one side. But there's a way that you could go about doing things without being rude, right? So, for example, I could go on a first date And one of the first things out of my mouth could be, I hope you don't think you're going to hit it, because that ain't happening. I don't care if you buy me dinner. I'm not about to bust it wide open for a steak and potato. Like, I could do that, and that's my truth. That's really my truth. But my delivery, my energy, all that stuff might push away someone unnecessarily, as opposed to letting it organically come out. The conversation could organically come up, and those types of things will be discussed. I remember someone had mentioned something about a guy saying, oh, there's levels to this, essentially, and a woman has to be at a certain place to get flowers. And I'm thinking, in what scenario would that organically come out? You know what I'm saying? So either she's asking for flowers, or that's just weird for a guy to just blurt that out. That's just okay. So I think that nobody should ever have the energy of you better impress me. Nobody should have the energy. For those of you who have purchased my book, that's everything it's just a little ebook. Not some thick old novels, just to make sure that's clear. But my ebook, where it talks about First Date 101, that is one of the biggest things that men say, is this sense of entitlement. Someone coming to the table like with Queen of England energy, like you're the court jester and she's waiting for you to perform for her. Remember we said, have fun. You should be fun to be around, okay? So the other extreme would be desperate and, oh my God, I hope you pick me energy. But the other energy is that like entitled, I think I'm better than you energy. Be in the middle, have fun. You're grateful for his time. You hope he's grateful for your time. Thank God you're not picking up the check, right? Gratitude, no matter what happens, gratitude. As long as he is not violating you in some way or being disrespectful, show gratitude. He should be able to have an amazing time. Even at the end of it, you say, this wasn't a good fit for me. Thank you for reminding us that God says we should not lay down with someone who's not our spouse. I believe that applies when you are older, at least to me. I think you said it still applies. Yeah, absolutely. He says that we become one flesh. It is a big deal. Okay, so another thing that I thank you guys for everyone who submitted this. Same thing. He said entitlement and not being held accountable for her actions. So you already see right there, you have two guys agreeing with the same thing. So a lot of, he said a lot of delusion and unrealistic expectations. I do hear that a lot. And so, sorry, I'm reading and thinking at the same time, so I'm losing my train of thought. The entitlement, that also ties into, you cannot negotiate until somebody has made an offer, right? You can't counter when you didn't get the initial offer. So you absolutely need to be able to come in with a more passive stance. I don't mean doormat stance, but passive meaning you react to what he gives or doesn't give. A man told me he had so much fun on a date for him. A man told me he had so much fun on a date for him, it switched to friend energy. That is a different dynamic. That is a different dynamic. So this is one of the things, y'all, I had a whole dating class that I put together, like painstaking time, put all this stuff together, and I sent out to my email list. I was like, who would be interested? Now, I don't know if it went to their spam, but I had like 6 people sign up. But the stuff that you're asking, this stuff all gets covered in depth. So we definitely, I hope that you guys eventually, want to do that, because I don't want to put all my little slides together if I only have, a handful of people. Shout out to those 6 people. But there is definitely a balance that needs to be had. And I covered in my last live stream that there is you need to be flirty and playful without being sexual. Okay, a lot of times women think like, oh, this is gonna make me stand out because I'm alluding to a BJ or I'm doing. No. Don't make sexual jokes and things like that. But you absolutely need to remind him that you are a woman, you are a female, and you are feminine. And so that balance between femininity and playfulness is the perfect mix, because he wants his buddy, but he wants a buddy that he wants to smash. Okay, after marriage for those abstaining. Okay, next question. What do you think men dating younger women? I don't have a problem with anybody as long as as long as they are compatible. I don't think age matters. Okay, a problem I've encountered with bougie materialistic city girls in London. A problem I've encountered is bougie, materialistic city girls. So getting to the unrealistic that somebody else said, unrealistic, un if you are not paying, if you cannot afford essentially the things that you're asking a man to do, you shouldn't do this either way, but you really, really should watch your attitude if you can't do it, right? It's like the people who go to the football game and they're judging the quarterback and they've never played football a day in their life. Like, you don't know what it feels like to be in freezing temperatures, wearing a bunch of pads, running up and down a field for an hour, trying to catch, whatever, the ball. So a lot of times the things that I see women say, oh, he better have this, they can't even do for themselves. Okay. So even the one who's a boss babe who can do it for herself, it's still not an excuse, but it looks less crazy, right? It's unattractive, but at least it's less crazy. Honey, you could barely afford your little Toyota and you talking about he better have a Maybach. Like, that's no. So I think the other thing is, like, I've told my ex-husband so many times, wow, I really undervalued, or I didn't appreciate, not because I didn't want to, but I just couldn't appreciate certain things on the level that I can now when I didn't go through it. So if someone is pampered, if they've never lived in a rough area, if they've always had rides to school, if they have always, been able to buy fast food or, order out whenever they wanted to, they can't appreciate what it feels like to come home and literally not know what they're going to eat that day. They don't know what it's like to make, cheese sandwiches and things like that. So as much as you think you're grateful, until you've been in a certain situation, you don't know what it feels like. So one of the things that I would love for women to have is just this attitude of gratitude, because the beautiful thing is when you have a masculine man, he's not going to burden you with his stuff, right? We say, oh, we want you to see his emotions and we want to, know what you're thinking all the time. A masculine man will actually protect you from yourself. He will not tell you every single thing, because that's part of him being the protector, is to also protect your sanity. So if things are tight, if he's worried about losing his job, a lot of times a guy out of love, not deception, will protect you from that. He'll stress himself out and try to figure it out behind the scenes, but he's not going to dump it on your lap and be like, let's both worry about this. He'll let you worry about the things you need to worry about, potty training or whatever, but he'll do his thing. So we really do need to lift up men and understand how much they have to deal with and be super, super grateful. So I can't think of anything more unattractive than a woman who is just demanding and ungrateful. It's not cute. It's embarrassing when I see women do that. He said, when are we having a meetup mixer type for single people? One in Florida. Look, I always say that if y'all want to do mixers and whatnot, y'all just have to fly me out. That's it. So if y'all want to coordinate that, send me the ticket. Send me the information, the money for the hotel. I have done it several times in my private group, and we have had a blast. So, look, open invitation, y'all. All right, so let's see. Do I want to? Yes, you've asked a lot of questions, so don't call me out if I don't answer all of them. He said women with multiple kids and babies' fathers thinking that they are the prize. So, I feel like that is an intense way to say it, but ladies, let me say this in this way. Understand that there is sort of a pecking order. When it comes to women, I don't want to say that certain women are not dateable. There are levels to it. So just like with men, a very successful man who is taller and more muscular and doesn't have kids, for example, he's going to want to stick out. So there is a reality that when you have certain things that are considered strikes against you, as much as it's not politically correct to say, this is what men think. And for me, I'd rather get over my emotions and know the truth, because the truth will set us free, right? So the more things that we have that are strikes against us, we need to be a little bit more flexible. I don't mean deal with red flags or someone putting their hands on you or disrespecting. I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying you might have to give a little bit. You might have a guy that doesn't check every single box, but we do have to be a little bit open. Men need to check their delivery too when criticizing women. It often comes off as disrespectful and hateful. I don't even have to add to that because you nailed it, sis. Yes. And I would say this: men can speak to men in a way that the men just listen to the words. But one of the things that you love about us is our sensitivity. And so you got to take the good with the bad. You have to understand that the delivery is just as important as the message. It actually overpowers the message a lot of times. And he said facts over feelings. That's showing not that you don't understand women at all. Because somebody who wants to be an effective communicator will adjust and adapt to the audience. And so if my audience is not responding, that's not going to work. And the same thing in reverse. You know, if you're a coach and you're trying to pump up your team and help them to get to victory, they're not going to want some, you guys are great and I love you. No, they respond to punching the chest and rah, rah, and cussing or whatever. You have to be able to adjust. It's not good or bad the way men do it. It's just different, and you got to be able to adjust accordingly. Okay. Issue number 1, women that have a high body count now want to leverage sex for compliance. And I always say this question: unless she has multiple children, how do you even know what she's doing, right? Like, you can't check for virginity. You don't know. So unless this person has a reputation around town, I don't even know how someone would know how many people that she has been with. But the thing is that this one is a bit tricky because I can get how someone would say, oh, now you want to not give out. But here's the thing. A guy, this is my opinion. I mean, all this is my opinion. But a guy who is truly interested in a woman will respect her boundaries. And sometimes women will have carried themselves a certain way, realize it doesn't work for them, and now this is how she is choosing to move. Again, how would a man even know what her past was? But 2, I'm trying to say this in a way that makes sense and is sensitive, not getting STDs. That should be just in general, right? If people are active. But I understand that the idea that men are saying, realize that it doesn't have the value in our eyes, because purity and virginity, even though men can't stand it because, you know, that means they're not getting any, they do value that. So typically a guy would say, okay, if she's never been with anyone, then it makes sense that she's waiting. So it's harder for them to understand, you know, someone who has cracked that seal and is now saying, wait. But I want to make this very, very clear to women. You do not owe anyone anything. I always say it's like running into a wall. Just because you ran into a wall doesn't mean I got to commit to a lifetime of running into the wall. So if you realize, hey, this is not serving me to sleep with people I'm just dating, and you want to stop, power to you. Women can talk to men any kind of way, and we have to take it. Who says? I don't agree with that at all. At all. So I speak out against women who are verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and physically abusive. I have heard so many people talk about being physically abused and emotionally abused. So no, it doesn't. I don't play it either way. Thank you so much. I don't know, Amvando. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. Okay. We got some new questions. How are you guys doing on time? As long as I drink my water, I should be okay for a few more minutes. Okay. Some say the moment a man and a woman have sex, they are married in God's eyes. Is that true? Why should a ceremony predict if you're married or not? So that's interesting, and I have to do a little more research, but the little bit of research that I did do on that, because I was really interested in it, is that I don't think that they are married, because I actually used to say that. But I realized that in the Bible, if you're going to go off of Judeo-Christian, the Bible, is that there were people who had concubines. And so there was a difference in the title wife and concubine. Now, they had to take care of their concubines. They can't just sleep with a woman and then, all right, be on your way, lady. But there was a difference between wife and concubine. So if somebody if the sleeping together automatically made you someone's wife, then there wouldn't be anything but wives. And also it talks about prostitutes. So if a man went and slept with a prostitute, it didn't automatically make his wife. So I had to actually correct myself, because I was saying that. But you do become one flesh. The Bible says that the husband and wife become one flesh. So it's interesting. We're studying. Oh, okay, love. Let's see. These are good questions. Okay, and then there's one more. A guy was contributing to the things that men have issues with women. He said, I've encountered women who bring with them past trauma into a new situation. Ooh, that is a good one. And I'm going to actually end there, you guys. But ladies, know that you need to do the work. You need to do the work before you start to date. And sometimes you don't know where you need to do the work until you started dating. But if you do see something, you can maybe pull back a little bit and take some time. A lot of my clients will do that. They'll say, you know what, I realize I am not in a position to date. Or they'll say, you know what, I'm ready to get back in the market. You should be able to learn that. The thing is that a good indicator to me is if you cannot deal with each person individually. If you go in there and you're constantly comparing to or saying, I don't want this to happen and I'm already prepared for it to happen, there's probably some stuff that you need to work through. Each person should be given their own blank slate. And like I said before, you already have your list of deal breakers. You already have your list of things that you will not do outside of marriage. So there's no way you can get hurt, right? Like you can't get, nothing is going to be out of your control. You're just vetting people and you're seeing if they're a good fit for you or not. And if they say no, you're okay, because your worth is not indicated by somebody choosing you or not, because there are plenty of guys who are great guys that you don't want. Okay? So somebody was asking how long it takes to post on YouTube. Sometimes it could be as long as 24 hours just because I am manually doing it. It depends on how quickly Instagram lets me download. Sometimes I just can't even do it at all because Instagram will not let me download it to my phone. So I cannot say 100%, but my goal is to have it up by the next day. So this was filmed on Thursday. It should be available, I would hope, on Friday. It depends if I can do everything from my phone, because my mouse, for whatever reason, is just not working. So I can't do anything with my computer right now, which is why I haven't finished editing my YouTube video that was supposed to post yesterday. So bear with me, y'all. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Chasing Yancy, on YouTube, youtube.com, Chasing Yancy, or just go to the search box in YouTube and type in Chasing Yancy. Subscribe to my page, and then you'll be notified when I go live, as long as you hit the little notification bell. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. And how are you going to slip in one more question when I'm saying goodbye? Okay, I'll answer it. Could you date outside your faith? Absolutely not. I could not. Because my faith is the very foundation of the way that I live my life. There are a lot of people, this isn't to shade people, but there are a lot of people who check the box Christian, for example, because I'm non-denominational Christian. A lot of people check the box, but it's more so like this is the culture they grew up in, but it doesn't really affect their choices in life. For me, it is an everyday, something every day is influencing the decisions of things I choose to do and things that I choose to abstain from. So I could not do it. And somebody who wasn't of my faith wouldn't want to be with me, because that would just be a lot. So anywho, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a beautiful evening. You guys were very engaging. And to you, with the million questions, I still appreciate the engagement. You know who you are, sir. Thank you, Tay, again for the badge. Thank you also for Oak Raw for the badge. I really appreciate that. And I will see you guys later. Take care. Good night.